Of course, all window managers must provide the user some way of controlling the windows. The commands that are available typically include changing which window is in view, changing the size of windows, selecting which window is getting keyboard typing, and shrinking a window down to its icon. Here are some examples of window manager commands.
The Bravo document editor manages a single column of fixed-width windows. A new window may be created by using a keyboard command and positioning the window boundary using the right mouse button. Alternatively, a window may be split into two or more views of the same document using the middle mouse button. Selection highlighting will appear in all views. Window boundaries may be adjusted with a left mouse button. Windows may be destroyed by issuing a second keyboard command and clicking in the window to be removed.
Each window in XDE has a title bar, which contains the name of the window. In addition, the title bar is broken into 3 sections, which are used as accelerators for window movement and resizing. When the user presses down the right mouse button on either the left and right sections, the cursor changes to indicate the window may be moved. If grow is desired, click the left mouse button while continuing to hold the right mouse button. If the left mouse button is clicked again, the user may drag a single window edge around. Releasing the right mouse button defines the final shape. Clicking with the left mouse button on the middle region causes the window to zoom. Clicking with the right mouse button causes the window to become tiny. The same 3 accelerators are available on the tiny windows. Clicking the right mouse button in the middle region opens the window. In XDE, windows represent running processes. These processes are started by menu commands or from the executive. The Window Manager menu contains commands to move and resize the window, to change the stacking order, and to deactivate the window. All of these commands were demonstrated as part of the title bar demo. Deactivate removes the window from the screen. The process is still running, but the window is no longer taking up space on the screen. To reactivate a window, use the Inactive menu.
In Smalltalk, the things you can do to windows are found on a menu that pops up when you press down the right mouse button. Here's how we move a window. A window can be reframed or just resized. This means to go to the nearest corner that you're pointing to and grab that, keeping the diagonally opposite corner fixed. Finally, to close a window, you can select the Close option.
Interlisp D is a multi-window system. Windows overlap one another, can be brought to the top and returned by clicking in them. Windows can be moved and shaped. Windows may have no title bars and just a content, or they may have a title bar with content. In addition, windows can be grouped together through attachment to form attached window groups. Each window has or may have a title bar. Different small windows forming part of the whole show different aspects of what is the subject matter of the window group. As a multi-window environment with multi-applications, there is a strong demand for screen space. Consequently, windows in Interlisp D can be made to shrink to form icons. Icons can be moved around and placed as one will. They can also be expanded again to gain access to the application. As an accelerator on the expansion, to avoid the menu, clicking with the middle button simply gives you access to the application directly.
In Star, windows are tiled. There's a maximum of 6 windows, 3 on the left side and 3 on the right. To open an icon, select it by clicking on it once and then press the Open key. When a new window is opened, it normally opens on the left side of the screen, unless there are already 3 windows open there. In the title bar of each main window, there's a menu button that contains Set Window and possibly other commands. The Set Window command brings up an option sheet where the user may specify if the window is to open on the left or right side of the screen. If the user wants to move or resize any window, they first select the Resize box in the lower right of the window. Now use the Move command to specify the desired location of the bottom of the window. To close the window to an icon, select the Close command from the title bar. The last icon that was opened was a file folder containing a document. That document, Fifth Window, was then opened and it appeared within the same window as the folder. Note that the title reflects this nesting. In addition to the Close command, there is a Close All command that will close Fifth Window and Window folder.
Macintosh windows overlap each other. Clicking any window brings it to the top of all the others and activates it for interaction with the user. All other windows are inactivated. Windows may be dragged with the title bar, resized with the grow box, toggled between 2 states with the zoom box, and closed with the close box. In all cases, there is visual feedback to the user. Pressing in the title bar outlines the window to show what will be affected. Pressing in the grow box outlines the edges of the window that will be affected. When you press in the zoom box, it highlights to show that it is active. If you move outside the zoom box, it unhighlights to show that you can release with no action being taken. The same goes for the close box. Releasing outside the box does nothing. Releasing inside the box closes the window.
Cedar windows, called viewers, are positioned automatically. They are tiled into 2 columns with an optional 3rd column on a color display. The user can control the dimensions of the columns and the number of icon rows at the bottom of the screen. Each window can be destroyed, height adjusted, moved to other columns, moved to the top of their column, grown to the full column height, shrunk to its previous place and size, or made iconic. When a viewer is changed, the manager automatically reallocates screen space for the other viewers. Applications can be split into multiple views of the same document that can be individually scrolled. When an icon is opened, its viewer is recreated at the bottom of its positioned column. The manager always adjusts viewer heights to occupy the full height of a column.
Andrew's tiling window manager divides the screen into multiple columns. Users can control where new applications appear. The title bar in each window provides the name of the application, some application-specific information, and the machine name. Users shrink a window by clicking in the title bar. Clicking in a shrunken title bar opens the window. The placement of shrunken title bars is under user control. Users move windows from column to column with the mouse. Window boundaries are adjusted by placing the cursor between 2 windows and dragging the mouse. Other window management functions are found in the Window Manager menus, which pop up only when the cursor is over a title bar.
In Sapphire, to change which window is attached to the keyboard, the user moves the cursor to the window and clicks a button. Windows can be controlled using pop-up menus. In addition, the title line of each window is divided into 3 invisible areas, and pressing on these with the mouse causes window operations. The 2 areas on the ends perform the same actions. With a 3-button mouse, there are therefore 6 operations available on the title line. Since the user might forget which operation is attached to each area and button, feedback is provided in the cursor picture. When you press a mouse button, the cursor changes, and the operation is not executed until the mouse button is released. Moving away aborts the operation. The default bindings of operations are, with the left button, top, full screen, and top again. For the middle button, bottom, back from full screen or off screen, and bottom. For the right button, pop-up menu, move grow, and pop-up menu. After move grow, the borders of the window show control handles. The white ones are for growing, and the black ones are for moving. Pressing in the icon also operates on the window, rather than on the icon. The left button on the icon causes the window to become uncovered on the screen and attached to the keyboard. The middle button identifies the window associated with the icon, and the right button pops up the menu. It is also possible to give all window manager commands from the keyboard by hitting a special prefix key first, and then the single-letter command for the operation.
In Viewpoint, windows may be moved, resized, moved to top or bottom, all via the Window Ops menu in the title bar or by using accelerators. This is a demo of the accelerators. First, notice that there are control points in each corner of the window. Pressing and holding the left mouse button on a control point allows the user to move the window. If the window is overlapping other windows, the user may move it to the bottom or top by clicking the left mouse button. Pressing and holding the right mouse button on a control point allows the user to resize the window. If the control point being moved crosses over another control point, the original control point will become fixed and the new control point will move. This allows the user to grab any control point in sight and easily resize the window in any direction.
In the alternate reality kit, the closest thing to a conventional window would be this kind of paper object, which can be moved around by grabbing and carrying, the same operations that's used for all objects in ARC. The window can be resized by grabbing this post and carrying it to the appropriate destination position, and it can be closed by attaching a Vaporize button and activating it with the middle mouse button. The Smalltalk environment is written in Smalltalk itself, so the user can get in and change what it means to move, close, or resize a window. For example, here's a fancy way to move a window to a new destination. And this is a fancy way to close a window. This is particularly satisfying treatment for error windows.
To move a window, the user places the mouse pointer over the window's title bar, presses and holds the left button down, then moves the window to the desired position. To size the window, the user moves the mouse pointer over the sizing border. The mouse pointer shape will change. The user then presses the left mouse button and stretches the window horizontally or vertically to the desired size. The corners of the window can be used to change the size of the window horizontally and vertically at the same time. The keyboard interface for changing window location and size is through the use of the control menu. The user selects the menu by pressing the Alt key and spacebar simultaneously. The user can then select the Move item, which will cause the sizing border of the window to appear highlighted and will allow the window to be moved using the arrow keys. The final position of the window is then set by selecting the Enter key. Size works much the same way. The border becomes highlighted, arrow keys alter the size, the Enter key determines the final size.
If I shape it to overlap the mousy window, I can demonstrate the up and down arrows, and they change the depth of this window. The down will push it to the bottom of the pile of windows, and the up arrow will bring it to the top. And those are very natural, intuitive directions for those functions. Now, the I here is a visual pun. This turns the window into an icon, and I have the same menu on the icon for consistency's sake that will turn it back into a window. Now, on the submenus, there is a grab submenu for grabbing a corner of the window or an edge and stretching it to somewhere. Now, I can grab, say, the lower edge, and it gives me this rubber band feedback telling me where the lower edge will go when I click the button.
These anchors may also be dragged to create and destroy multiple views. Position the line to determine the proportion of the split and drag one anchor beyond the other to collapse the view.
Windows on the next computer are moved by dragging them by the title bar. Windows on the next computer are resized by dragging the bar on the lower edge of the window. Dragging on the middle of the bar makes the window taller or shorter. Dragging on the corner areas of the bar changes the window's width and height. Windows on the next computer may be miniaturized by clicking on the Miniaturize button on the left of the title bar. The resulting mini window can be positioned by dragging. If the user double-clicks on the mini window, the original full-size window returns. Windows on the next computer are closed by clicking the Close box on the right of the title bar.
Window focus follows the cursor. As I move into a new window, the title bar highlights to show that this is the active window. Also, the selection in the previous window dims because it is no longer active. The active window is the one that accepts text. When I type, text goes to this window because it is active, or if I move over here, text goes to this window. These windows have several fixtures. In each corner is a stretch icon, which I can use to stretch or shrink the window. I can resize it from any corner. I can also grab the edge to move the window. In the upper left-hand corner is a Stow icon, which allows me to iconify the window down to a small iconic view. The window's still there, it's just frozen behind an iconic view. I can stow several windows at a time if I wish. If I want to unstow the window, I select it again with the left mouse button. In the upper left-hand corner is a Quit button, which makes the window go away completely. Windows don't need to be rectangular. In fact, this is a window here. I can drag it, push it, pop it, and even iconify it.
MWM, the Motif Window Manager, can be used to manipulate all X applications, not just those created with the Motif widget set. Using a mouse, the user can resize any application window by dragging any edge or corner. To move a window, you drag the window's title bar. Windows can be iconized by clicking in the small iconized decoration at the upper right of the window. To restore the window, double-click on the icon. Windows can be maximized, that is, made to fill the entire screen, by clicking on the larger Maximize symbol. To restore the original size, click Maximize again. Clicking the button in the upper left corner of the window posts MWM's window menu. This menu provides access to all functions we've just mentioned, and also allows you to lower the window, to place it visually underneath any overlapping windows, and to close it to terminate its application. Motif provides keyboard bindings to allow you to perform all these functions without a mouse.
This is the Deck Windows icon box. It's where iconic representation of windows are stored. You can click on the icon with the mouse button to expand a window, or you can also click on the icon to shrink a window. Similarly, every window has an icon in its upper left-hand corner. Here we see the session managers. You can click on this icon in the left-hand corner and shrink a window that way. You pick up and move windows on the screen by pointing to their title bars and dragging the mouse. A move can be canceled without anything happening by chord cancel. Here you press any other mouse key and the operation won't happen. Title bars of applications also have resize icons in their upper left-hand corner. When you press the mouse button, you get a resize cursor. and then when you break through the border of a window, you can resize it. When you let go of the drag operation, the window will resize. In this case, we canceled it. The other icon in the title bar is a push-to-back icon. This will push the window to the back. Some applications in deck windows make use of paned windows, windows that are split into 2 or more areas with a pane between them, much like a window pane. And you can dynamically resize the proportions devoted to each of the 2 sections by pressing the mouse button on the pane and moving the mouse. It's a drag operation. And when you let go, the 2 sides will automatically resize.
I hope you've enjoyed this survey of widgets. Although most systems today use only a few common techniques, we can expect novel ways of manipulating data in the future using new input techniques and devices such as multi-touch screens, data gloves, speech recognition, and gesture recognition. As these begin to supplement and even replace the mouse, new forms of widgets will be needed, so there is plenty of exciting work ahead for widget designers. Thank you.